This is Kristen Rosicki with Vandalia for our March update. I left you last time with clips from our first off-property cross-country school. 2 days later, Veda went to a schooling horse trial at the very same farm. Previous to this, we put Veda on the trailer on a day when we had other horses showing, and this allowed her to hang out without any added stress and just get used to the sights and sounds at a show. If possible, I try to use a schooling show as my first show experience with a green horse. Because it was unrecognized, Veda had just schooled across country 2 days before. It gives you the option to skip any fences on course that might seem to be too much at the time. There's a lot less atmosphere to deal with. And along with that, there's the obvious benefits of a lower cost, and if you have a green result, it's not permanently recorded on their record. I was quite pleased with how this first show went. She's oddly unaffected by the atmosphere of being at a horse show. As you're watching the dressage test here, you could certainly see there's some green moments. She's trying to stay a little bit away from the rail since she's not used to being ridden in kind of the PVC arena like this. Also, you could see the canter depart was a little bit sticky. She's not quite strong enough or broke enough to understand how to make a clean depart. I'm also riding her in my jump saddle. She's quite a bit happier the lighter I stay if I'm not sitting heavy on her. So even in that canter circle, you could see there was a moment where she started to get a little bit inverted and a little tail swishy. So I just kind of opted to stay a little bit light in my stirrups and off of her back. The first fence here on the stadium, I decided to trot just in case she was going to act a little bit green and need an extra look, but she kind of confidently hopped right over it, and I opted to stay in the canter for the rest of my round here. She's got such a beautiful natural balance. It makes it easy to kind of find the jumps right out of stride. She does have a natural lead change, but she doesn't really do it yet, when I'm asking her. So she kind of uses it more when I'm flatting her, and she's not very happy with whatever I'm asking. So I haven't really started to put that button on her yet because I feel like she uses it kind of in moments that she's evading me. So as she goes, you can see she's getting more and more comfortable and confident throughout the round. I'm still riding her a bit conservatively, not really knowing what to expect, but the longer we're out there, the more confident I'm feeling. Here she does end up giving me the front lead change, but not the hind change, so I end up just supporting her and trying to just keep as much quality to the canter as possible. And then on the cross country, once again, since we had just schooled this a couple days previously, she went out fairly confidently and was really just a blast to ride. So I really love this part of the video because it really shows you how beautiful her canter is. She wants to stay really uphill in her neck and her shoulder, and she's just got a fat snaffle on, so I'm just allowed to just kind of sit right there in the middle of her and let her lope across the field here. We're heading to the ditch, which once again she had just seen 2 days before. She does not seem to be a very ditchy horse, which is great. She just hops right over it like it's no big deal. Overall, she had just a great first experience at the schooling show. And then 2 weeks later, I was able to go back to the exact same venue and do the recognized horse trial. I ended up doing a level higher at the beginner novice. I do suspect she was in season during this show. She was just a little bit tighter in her back than what she normally is. At the schooling show, she got a 34 in the dressage, and at the recognized horse trial, doing the exact same dressage test, she ended up with a 38. Once again, I think just a little bit tight in her back and just a little less consistent in the contact. I really should have added the video we have of this little filly on my trailer as we're tacking her up before her stadium and cross country. She was pretty much falling asleep. I always say she has kind of these sideways ears and these sideways eyes. She's not impressed by much. So what a fun little horse, though. This is her second real kind of competition here, and she's once again not affected by everything that's going on around her. That fence we just jumped previously, we were jumping towards kind of the area that they store all the fences in. So she was just a little bit looky going there, but I mean very, very minimal, especially for a horse this green. And then the more we go, kind of the more forward she gets and the more game she becomes, kind of looking for her next fence. I'm really just trying to regulate the canter and give her kind of the quietest, smoothest ride possible. Let her focus more on her job. She's really not impressed by much here. She's kind of casually just stepping around the fences, which is really what I'd like from her at this point. So the cross country, once again, this is the beginner novice, so it's a different course than what she had gotten to do 2 weeks previous. She was a little bit more distracted by the people on course. There's more jump judges out there. It had rained also, so the footing in front of and behind the jumps, was a little bit less consistent and was catching her eye a little bit here and there. But once again, she's very happy to kind of go out and do her job, just trying to have a nice, smooth round, building her confidence. So this next jump, if you look kind of closely, she canters right up to it like it's no big deal. But then as she lands, there were some people walking and they just catch her eye and she just ever so slightly kind of props and moves to the right. Just kind of a funny little moment here. You see me kind of give the death stare at the people that my horse took a glance at. But anyways, all just really good experience for her. And, she's just kind of happily cantering along, very relaxed. From here, we kind of head down the hill and did have a water jump that, I did school her through before I presented her to. She was great. Once again, that's over that same ditch she did previously on the tadpole course. And then I did not school her up this little mound here. So you see her being a little bit green, and I just do my best to stay behind her and keep encouraging her forward. She happily pops right over the jump and canters down the hill. So we're going to leave you with this for this month, and then hopefully by next month we do a young horse class.